Welcome to Journey Through the Gate, the Paranormal Portal podcast, as we delve into the many questions and wonders brought on by the supernatural experience. What's on the other side of the gate? Let's find out together.
I can explain. Maybe. Let's get... it's the curse of the mummy, I swear. And I can fix the camera. Everything is wonky. Let's get Steve in here. Get some evidence. Hey, honey. I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. The curse of the mummy. It's already started.
If you have sage, you know, if you got them, light them. If you have the Florida,
smoke them if you got them.
Smoke them if you got them. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's last night. Tony Merkel was on with it. Florida Water. Tony was on with us. What a lovely human being he is. Last night we did Shanley Hotel. Laura and Donnie, and I believe a new guy. We just met Chisholm, a wonderful guy. He was on with us. And I think it was Tony's brother sets up that. Anyway, it was a group thing where they all go on like a weekend, and they were all going to stay at the Shanley Hotel. So they came on to talk about that experience. I said, apparently it's really dark, and it's just been all these tech problems. Guys, I had like 3 of the StreamYard windows open. That's why I had the echo, because I was trying to set that up. Steve, that's why it sounds good now. We're good there.
Okay.
But I'm sorry that all happened, guys. Apparently, I guess my YouTube link expired or something. They didn't let me know. And Facebook was kicking me all over the place. We've got no air conditioning, and they've been working on this thing since like Thursday. I had to put in a whole new unit up in the attic. Nothing would fit. Had to cut everything. Broken light bulbs all over my floor. Cats in and out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, all day. So I apologize. I am here, I think. And Lindsay's saying it was truly amazing show. Did we not have fun? We actually were talking the difference between a house full of light spirits, light workers and spirits, and one that might be a little, a lot darker, and the differentials between it and everything. Hello, gatekeepers. Yeah. Glenn, you got it, man. I don't know what was up. I made a little video for you guys. It was 3 hours pending for a 4-minute video. So I went to my other YouTube channel and loaded it up to see if it would come in faster, and I'm sitting there watching both of them. Meanwhile, I got people in and out, handing out water, and, this poor guy had 2 people call out on him today. One of them didn't realize it was his daughter's birthday. Okay, right out the gate, that's just, how's that happen? And then, I don't know. So, this poor man running back and forth trying to do this by himself, and we still have no air conditioning. So, we're sweating, we are already off the rails. Expect anything, because we're doing, I want my mummy! We're doing the mummy's curse tonight. Searching, I guess we found it. You know, you didn't know, you don't even mosquitoes in there, do you, Steve?
I don't think so.
because I think that's one of the things that killed that one guy. An infected mosquito bite killed this guy. I guess that
Yeah.
says something.
Well,
But
they claim there's like they put streptococci and things in there to
yeah,
that was literally to kill people. That was the
biological warfare.
yeah.
There's a warning plain as day, right out front. I wrote it down, and it sounded pretty doggone plain to me.
Yeah.
It said, "Death will slay with his wings."
There's a mosquito.
Whoever disturbed the rest of the pharaoh. And they went, and went in anyway. So we're going to look into that. So
they didn't wake him up. They were quiet.
It's been, I got to be honest with you. I was never really big. I know there's a lot of back and forth on this as far as archaeology and when it's okay to dig somebody up. As being Native American, we have a real big thing about that, It's, you don't play with that. And I had a friend who was kind of higher up in the hierarchy of the clan, and he basically said, he went up to an archaeologist and he goes, "That's fine, but you want to dig up my grandmother, go ahead. You tell me where your grandmother is and I'll go dig her up."
We'll swap grandmothers.
Yeah, so there's a lot of battle on that. So I don't know. How do you feel about that? Digging, is it any of our business? Do we need to be digging around and digging people up and putting them on display?
Yeah, again, I kind of have mixed feelings on that too. I know when over in the Smokies in Townsend, Tennessee, the quiet side of the Smokies there, as opposed to Gatlinburg, when they're widening the highway through there, they found a lot of Native American remains.
Yeah.
And they took a lot of those down to Fort Loudon, that historical site down there where they have the recreation of the fort. And then right there in the same areas, the Sequoia Museum, well, they built an Indian mound there and interred a lot of those people in there. So as long as you do something like that, but they weren't digging them up just to digging them up. They were making the highway, and they found them. It was
that's a little.
And they had to stop and carefully dig everything up after they started finding bones. In fact,
well, I'll tell you what, that'll stop construction quick.
Yeah, my daughter's half sister works for the Tennessee Department of Transportation as an archaeologist, and that's what they do. If they find something, she goes out and verifies, if it's a chicken bone or if it's Uncle Ed or whoever, and they have to proceed with caution if it's human remains.
Pardon me while I adjust this sucker. This is just bugging me. No, that's good. There we go. That's a little better.
But as far as just digging to be digging, or the relic hunters, artifact hunters, no.
Yeah, it's. I don't like it. I never did. I mean, I think it's interesting to, there's got to be another way, but to go in there and open that tomb, you know what I mean, and take them out and go through all the stuff and bring it out and display it.
Well, and I think another driving factor that made them think it was okay was all that gold in there.
Yeah.
How can we take this? Well, we're going to take it and preserve it. We're going to send it on tour and show it to where everybody can enjoy it, but we want the gold.
In the name of science.
Yeah.
And the greater good. It's always the greater good.
The greater good, yeah.
It's always the greater good. Hello, Julie. Hello, Linda. Maraid, our wonderful mods. I don't have any links to throw at you tonight. I mean, if you got the tpublic.com/Cisco, go in there and grab. I'm so behind today. I apologize. I mean, golly. I mean, this afternoon I was still like, what are we going to do? I had some good ideas. I didn't have time to do it. I had to pick another thing because, like I said...
I'd already studied up on the other thing you told me. I won't give it away because we can use that for a future
episode. We'll use it next time. I'm sorry.
I had some bang-up stuff, but that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm well-versed in mummies, too.
It was either that or don't have a show because, you think that you can... when you have 3 or 4 people in your house going in and out. Thank you, Sasha Bell. You're just a doll. Thank you, darling. And so it's right here. Thank you, Sasha Bell. She's just been right in there. You need to.
She is.
Sasha
She
Bell,
comes to my shows and on 13 and Missing Persons and Mysteries.
If I don't know, if you are on my Facebook or my Messenger, get on my Messenger, will you, honey, if you have Facebook, so I can send you links too. I'm sending them to Maraid. I'm trying to get organized, but if you're waiting on me to be organized, it's going to be a hot minute. I can tell you right now. So, Aunt Edna and I and a couple other people in here were just right on that thing last night. I just can't understand. But I can also get it that you've put a lot into it. You want to preserve history, and it's not really. Let's put it this way: if it didn't sell, they wouldn't sell it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just the way it is. You could open a dress shop because you want to sell dresses, but if everybody wants pants, I mean, that's
Your
just
SOL.
Your SOL, and you either sell pants or stick to your guns and shut the shop, and sell donuts.
As I say, you used to
Everybody
say in
likes
Soviet
donuts.
Russia, Toshetsky.
That's it. So tonight I thought it would be really interesting. Steve and I are always talking about the old classic movies, and I know we've done a couple of classic movies. We've definitely done monsters, but we're always ribbing the Mummy. And it's funny the way it is. The older classic movies, I think. I've never read any books on the Mummy. Have you?
Not other than just some of the accounts of when they went in and uncovered King Tut's tomb and all that.
But not like a story like the Mummy or whatever, and then
No,
ran all the way
just
through.
to me,
So I have nothing to base that on.
there's not anything scary about a mummy. I mean, Boris Karloff and he's, and then that's.
Yeah.
But the way that he does get people, he manages to trap them. Now, if you get in a corner, I guess he smothers you or chokes you or something. I don't know. But he moves real slow. He doesn't have a lot of mobility or range of motion. And he's wrapped in linen, covered in resin, which both those, especially together, are highly flammable. So I'm thinking, like a match, no more Mummy. Yeah, it's a it's a human fire stick.
In those older ones, from my reading, so it was like around 1922, 23. I have all the information in the vids I made for you. So right now I'm just spitballing. But right around that time when Tutankhamun's tomb, and we have that because Leonard Nimoy's going to come in here and tell us all about it much better than I can. And it's in a turtleneck and I think a porn stash. We might be lucky. So the thing is once that started, once that tomb opened up, everybody was excited about Egypt. And again, if you look at all the Perot, the Hercule Poirot, all that stuff, all those shows, even Casablanca, going all the way back, it always seemed like they were going on the Orient Express. They were always going to Egypt. They were always going to India, and different places like that to travel. And it really sparked the interest, and that's when they started doing the Mummy movies. Of course, if there's interest, like I said, people want pants, you give them pants. They wanted Mummy. Anne Rice, the Mummy. Did you read that, Linda? What did you think? Was it different? Did it have some substance?
I never read that one. I love Anne Rice. It never occurred. I just don't like mummies.
I think that would probably have some meat on the bone there if it was Anne Rice. I have not read it. I can't even speak on it.
I may have to go read it now.
Review old school King Kong or Godzilla movies. I'm there. Okay, we might do it. You never know. Or maybe Yoko. Why did I just see Yoko Ono's face on Godzilla? What's going on with Yoko lately? What is
she's still alive?
There was something I heard the other day about it too. Don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Salvador. Yeah, please do that. And again, I want to apologize to everybody in the chat that was in here last night. We went 3 hours, Steve. I blinked and it was.
I was there for the first part of it, but I had to bow out.
Well, this is my happy time. This is the most relaxed time I've had since last week. It's just getting here. That's frustrating sometimes. All the tech stuff, all the, it's just been, but we powered through. We're here. So I thought it would be really interesting to look into this whole mummy deal. We've talked about the curses. There's a guy in this In Search Of that really kind of poo-poos the whole thing. He says it's ridiculous. He says that it's very silly to think that a curse could last 2,000 years. I'm on the other side of that. I don't think it is.
If that was sealed and they'd put stuff in there, specifically for that, I mean, even if it was biological, maybe. And but I heard somewhere, now supposedly it was a debunker, saying that the guy that the guarded the treasure, one of the guards, actually slept in there with it um, for weeks and weeks, just to keep bandits and thieves and stuff away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if it didn't get him, but again, he was protecting the king. He wasn't
Yeah,
disturbing the king. He wasn't
that's a good
robbing the
point.
king. He was working for the people that were. But yeah, if you look at the Tut's curse, it's several different people. Yeah, like the guy died from an infected mosquito bite. Which, where do you ever hear that at? Like
Yeah, that got me. And the biological, they're going to explain that a little bit, but here's the deal. If they were smart enough to put that in there, they would have put whatever it needed to stay alive. So just because it's in the cave doesn't mean that they didn't have a biological system to keep it going, whatever it was. If they were smart enough to do that, I mean, these people were electroplating things with gold. I mean, again, I don't know if they had help. I assume they did. I'm in that court. Where aliens, extra dimensionals, whatever you want to, enlightened beings, whatever. There was definitely some help going on there because of all the cuts in the pyramids and that match across continents and things like that. It's just stuff you can't really poo-poo,
and it was mathematically correct, to
Yes.
the angles and everything, just very precise. People with working with fairly rudimentary tools.
Yep.
I gave a talk about that last year at the Conspiranormal conference in Nashville. Talked about I drew a parallel between the pyramids and from all over the world and the Tower of Babel in the Bible and Bigfoot nests and
Yeah.
missing people. Yeah, I tied a bunch of stuff up together.
Honey, we're always saying it's all connected. When I said that to Tony Merkel
Yeah.
last night, he just reared back in his chair. Yes.
Well, my
And
thought on that, you think about that in the Bible, the Tower of
uh-huh.
Babel, we're going to build a tower unto the heavens.
Uh-huh.
They were going to become gods, is what it was. They were challenging God. But then God smote them and confused their language and spread them to different continents and things. Well, you think about that. If you're standing there building a pyramid, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in the middle of the jungle in another country, I think the smarter people would say, hey, we were building a pyramid or a tower. Let's build another one to try to get back to, so I don't know how we got here. So the smarter ones, the better ones, the more educated ones, they were building pyramids. And then if you look at some of these other pyramids outside of Egypt in South America and Mexico and even some of the Native Americans and things, theirs weren't quite as good. It was just, in some cases, a pile of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But they were trying to do, I think, what they were doing in the first place when they suddenly ended up somewhere else and didn't know anything or anybody or even the language. And I also likened it to the cargo cults in World War II, where the natives watched, the planes come down and heard the guys talking into the radio, and they actually built things out of bamboo that resembled a radio hut, and
Yes.
they built planes out of bamboo. They thought that these soldiers were gods, and they were calling these huge birds down that brought gifts of food and clothing and things. And so, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
made sense to
Mm-hmm.
them that, well, if they did that, we'll make it look the same thing, say the same stuff, and wait for the big birds to bring us gifts. But, of course, it didn't happen that way. I'm fascinated with the cargo
I
cults and
that
all
that
that.
is amazing.
That'd be a good show to talk some
It
night.
would be. This is all new to me. Really. I think that's amazing. But that's it. It's that was the main thing I was focusing on today is one, is it right to go in the tombs? They wanted the gold. They covered it up, and just said, "Oh, we're here for this." But, is it real gold that they're displaying in there? Do they take it off and put, some other kind of thing on it? I mean, honestly, we don't know. We don't know because they're not going to let you
Probably the
touch it.
stuff that's on exhibit, I'd say it's plated. I think they made
Yeah.
replicas of it, and the other stuff they've either got it hid somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
or it's in it's been melted down and made
It's
into Krugerrands
highly
or
possible.
something. Yeah.
Highly possible. And Glenn here is saying, well, Jack Daniels died from kicking the safe. It's so true. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I've ever told you my Jack Daniels story, but from the time I was about 13, 14, I started drinking early. and
Early this morning.
no, yeah, I don't do it anymore. But and it's not that I don't drink; I just really don't anymore. Beer, Boston Lager. That's it. You stay there. But Jack Daniels, I used to carry a bottle because you could get into any concert, I guarantee you, with a bottle of Jack Daniels and a joint. or one or the other. And so all you had to do is get there early enough when the roadies were setting up. You got to pass, one way or the other. And I never did anything other than share my Jack Daniels and my dope. But, many other people use other things. We all know about that. But anyhow, the Jack was kind of a thing, especially in the 70s, really.
And everybody knows Jack Daniels. When I was in Southeast Asia, I tell them I was from Tennessee. They knew Elvis and they knew Jack Daniels.
Yep, there it was.
There you go.
And right there in Lynchburg, Tennessee, which happens to be a dry county. You cannot buy it from where it's made. Now, they'll give you some lemonade, but it doesn't have any Jack in it. Mm-hmm. And I remember taking my sons to see it, and I had quit drinking. Jack and I quit talking a long time ago. And I said, you see that wing right there? I said, your mama probably built that. You know what I mean? But you go in there and you see the safe that he kicked and everything else. And I said, isn't it a damn ironic shame that if he had just soaked his freaking foot in what he made, he probably would have been all right.
There you go.
So, yep, that's it. And Aunt Edna needs prayers tonight. It's real important. I think she's saying goodbye to a friend. So strength and love. And
love and light and peace and
baby.
Whatever you need there.
I understand, and if you need somebody, I'm here. I don't know. You probably don't have a Facebook, but if you want to contact me through email or whatever, it's journeythroughthegate@gmail.com. If you need somebody to talk to, I'll give you my phone number, and we'll all get you through this. You are among friends, and when I read it, I felt a real sad energy off of it. So I realize you're going through a lot. Love and light to you, sweetheart. And I mean what I say. Send me an email and we'll talk, okay? But you got this, babe. You know what you need and you've got plenty of it, okay? All right. So, everybody's got something they're going through, and we're here for everybody. That's what this chat is about. And again, I want to apologize because last night I had never met Tony Merkel, and I know I had listened to him in the past. He does a wonderful podcast. He's going to be at this with you, Mr. Steve.
Sorry, I had to sneeze. Yes.
It's okay. God bless you.
Pollen is high out here today.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's going to get better.
Yeah, he's going to be at the Dogman Conference, Paris, Tennessee.
Here. Yeah, he didn't even know.
August the 13th, hosted by Ken Gerhardt. It's being put on by Josh Wolf Turner from Paranormal Roundtable. He's also going to speak. Got Ron Murphy, Nick Redfern, Bettina Moss, Barton Nunley. He's a hardcore guy. Lives in Kentucky. He hunts Dogman with a sword and a spear. Nick Valente is going to be there. Jody Cook, Tony Merkel that you just mentioned, Jay Vault Tucker, Kenny Irish, the punk cryptozoologist, Elijah Henderson, David Weatherly, the Black Eyed Kids guy. If you see him call him that. He'll give you prizes.
He'll give you prizes.
Coonbo Baker, D.R. Roberts, and yours truly, Steve Stockton will be there.
Coonbo, that's a great name.
Yeah, I like that. But no, David Weatherly actually hates being the Black Eyed Kids guy, so that's why you need.
And he shouldn't. That's like Van Morrison say, getting mad when he's up there on stage. Everybody wants him to sing, his hits. He's, honestly, guy's only had a couple of them at 50 years, but and he gets mad, doesn't understand what people wants to hear, what they know, and he, I can understand. What's that one guy? It's not Arlo Guthrie. What's the guy's name who does American Pie?
Don McLean.
Don McLean. He says, I've been singing that damn thing for 50 years, but if people want to hear it, I'll sing it again.
And I saw an interview with him one time where people had asked the meaning of the song. What means this? What's the meaning to all this?
Oh, it's a great
tune. He said, well, what it means to me is once I wrote that and sang it, I never had to work another day of my life. And that's all he would ever say.
That's what it means to me. Well, see, that's it, though. But
it would take the mystery out of it. If he explained what every line in there was, it's more fun to sit
Mystic. That's in my book, Froze. Into the Mystic was the one where the motorcycle went by when I was deciding whether or not to put the story of my ex-husband, who was a Harley rider. Here goes by a Harley with Into the Mystic, which is a song he used to sing to me all the time about my gypsy soul and all. So I was like, okay. I told Steve, I said, well, I guess I got my go ahead and put it in the book.
Yeah, that was definitely a sign.
You just got to take them, man. You can't, keep everybody, just talks themselves out of stuff like that. You got to roll with it, baby. Why not? Why not?
Hey, we got Conflict Radio official in here with us. Hey, buddy.
Hey, hello, Conflict. How you doing, darling? I love you, man. I hope everything's good.
I think you messaged me about coming back on there, and I never did answer you back. But hit me up again, buddy. We'll work something out.
Get on there, yeah. That'd be good. You ought to have us both on. Boy, he wouldn't have to say a word,
boy,
would he?
No.
He wouldn't have to say a word. He just...
Like that time we were on with Sarai, and he lost control of his equipment, and we just kept talking. And we talked for, I think, 3 hours before we figured out Sarai wasn't saying anything back.
Oh, we went on for a long time, sweetie. We went on for a long time. So, and how's Mulder?
He's doing good. He's laying here in the floor. He was snoring a minute ago. It's hot, so he's keeping cool today.
Apache tears, hematite. Yes. If you've got some of that, Aunt Edna, stick it in your bra, baby. You'd be surprised how many. For the longest time, everybody thought I was a D. I'm not. I'm a C. It's just full of gemstone. But okay, who's ready for a little Leonard Nimoy?
Got you there. Conflict says he's in Facebook jail. YouTube jail.
Yeah, boy, they're getting rough, aren't they? Yep.
Knock wood.
Roll with it, baby. Yep. That's right. Okay, so who wants the Mummies? I think this is so interesting, and I had not ever seen this one. And it is, now I'm going to tell you this right now. I saw a spelling mistake in there. I couldn't go back and change it, or you wouldn't get to see it. So please forgive all the craziness. Yep, rose quartz too. And I don't know about the other one. I'm not as fluent in gemstones as, say, Lindsay or other people, but lepidolite, I think. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I'm not that good with Latin either. Hell, I barely can speak English. Yep, Glenn. Yep.
Now you need some Jack Daniels.
Yep. Why? Because we love YouTube.
Some Jack Daniels, and you may not be able to spelling better, but you won't care.
Yep. Okay, let's go. Mulder feel like having a cigarette?
Yeah. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Okay, sweetheart. We like I said, you're going to see some typos in here. If you see a mistake, I'll do my best to fix it.
I want to say something real quick before you start
sweetheart.
that. I think it was Donnie Cho was asking what if Van Morrison was his name, like Van Morrison, or was his last name Van Morrison. His real name is Sir George Ivan Morrison. He's Order of the Empire. He got a little thing like OBE or whatever they give him. But Ivan. Yeah. George Ivan Morrison. So the Ivan Van Morrison. So the last name is Morrison. He's Irish.
Oh. Blue Crossroads is sending you something. He's going to be in Gatlinburg in 2 weeks.
Yeah, would love to go to that one. Can't make it this year, even as a guest, or to just go to it. But I hope to speak at it next year. I'll be hopefully in that area, a little closer anyway.
Which singer is you talking about, Donnie?
Somebody was asking who. Donnie, I thought you asked if Van Morrison was his name. Somebody asked about Van Morrison.
Okay.
But speaking of singers and Donnie Cho, Donnie, what's up with your Facebook profile page? It looks like you're slowly morphing into Elvis. If you're friends with Donnie on Facebook, go over there and look at that. Now, this is his YouTube picture. He looks like, will the defendant please rise?
No, Justice.
But if you go over to Facebook, hey, Justice, if you go over to Facebook, he's slowly turning into the Korean Elvis.
Okay. There probably is one or two.
I think so.
You might want to shoot for something else, Donnie. Like, I don't know. Because can he sing? I've never asked Donnie if he could sing.
Yeah, Donnie, come on and sing a song for us sometime.
Come on. I love Into the Mystic too, sweetie. Yeah. It just, I think music is, it's multiple things. It's the mood it puts you in. It's the memory it gives you. It might be a lyric. Just you pull one lyric or the chorus out or whatever. Music is so many different things.
Vixen Doe's got your pronunciation there phonetically. Lopidolite.
Lopidolite. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to send all my gemstones her way. She can help me talk. because I'm
She,
telling you,
she hasn't had her Jack Daniels.
I can't even. There
You
was
know,
one that I was saying wrong for the longest time. I can't remember what it was. Probably more than one thing.
I've done that.
13 past midnight. There you go. So,
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
so many good things happening on that channel right now.
Oh,
You want to
it's
tell them about it again, real quick?
blowing up. I made Sandy a full partner over there. She's just not the host anymore. She's the other
Sweet
half
lady.
owner of the channel. We've got some big stuff coming up. I got a video about Kurt Cobain, his spirit that I encountered
I love that intro.
on some level when I was in Aberdeen, Washington on this last trip. We hit what was it? I showed it last night. 20 or 70, 20 cities and 79 places in a week. So we were on the move. But big things coming up on 13 past midnight. And if you're not subscribed, please do. We're I think about 9250 or something like that. Once we hit 10,000, there's going to be some amazing giveaways and got a huge announcement coming up over there in about 2 weeks. You don't want to miss that. And I've started a Bandcamp page.
Bandcamp.
Not that
For a
that
second, I
thing that
thought you were
happened.
saying you were gonna start a band. I was about to come out
Yeah,
of my
I'll
chair.
start a band too. But
Do it.
SteveStockton.bandcamp.com. There's nothing up there right now, but it's coming very soon. Somebody's helping me design the page and stuff. It's going to be spoken word stuff that doesn't fit on either of my channels, and stuff that I've been asked to do. Some of it's pure silliness and craziness, but I think you'll dig it. So, SteveStockton.bandcamp.com. And yeah,
Something.
everyone here agrees that
Something.
Courtney Love had everything to do with it, I
Yeah.
think.
Absolutely. Anne's getting chills. I'm not sure for what, but I think it has something to do with your channels.
Cool.
Either that or it's, I don't know. Maybe it's that I pronounced that one gemstone correctly. That might have done it.
But
All right.
getting back to Jack Daniels real quick.
You do it.
I'm going to paraphrase a saying from down south. If you get a night crawler, a fishing worm, and you put it in a glass of water, it lives. But if you put it in a glass of Jack Daniels, it dies. So what does that tell you? If you drink Jack Daniels, you'll never have worms. There you go. Actually, they told that about moonshine, but it works for
That's
Jack too.
funny.
Had to get that in there.
I gotta
Anyway,
get some sage
now we're
going.
ready to get to
Are
Leonard
we
and his
ready for?
porn
I don't
star
know if I'm
stash.
ready. I've already been cursed.
Curse with a
It's been
co-host that won't shut
everything.
the F up.
I mean, what was it? No, what was no? What? I just still don't understand how it didn't. I don't like things I don't understand because I can't prevent it from happening again if I don't understand how it happened the first time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sitting here going, "Where's my chat? Where's my gatekeepers at?" And I'm sitting, got 2-3 StreamYards open. I got probably glass in my foot, because that's fun. And the poor guy, you can't put. Today I saw the personification. Now I don't mean to cut anybody. And I don't mean this evil. I really don't. I mean this in the most loving, just, from the light way I possibly can. But today I saw the personification of a round peg trying to go into a square hole, if you know what I mean. This poor man was about 1.5 feet too big around to go in a hole. To go up in a hot attic in the house that hadn't had air conditioning since, Methuselah was a kid. And I don't know how you have two people call in on the same day that doesn't want to. Nobody wants to work in New Jersey. I don't know what's going on. But if I wanted to, I could have about 100 jobs right now. And I'm like, I can't help the guy, because I don't know anything about, Havoc and all this stuff, But, so it was just, it's been, and I can't even, so let's just watch this video, and I'll see if I can get the other one.
Nice segue there. Nice setup for
Let's
that.
just watch the video.
And I don't know, so let's just watch the video.
I don't know. So again, you're gonna see mistakes, and I don't even care anymore. As long as you don't care, and I apologize because I never want to give you guys shoddy work because I respect the hell out of you, and I respect myself enough to do the best I can. But this one's got to roll as is. So here we go. Just cross your fingers, hope for the best, don't kick a safe. Drink a thing of Jack Daniels and sing, I guess. Here we go. Oh my God, Steve, are we gonna get through this one?
I don't know.
It'll be okay.
There we go.
There we go. Everybody can see it, right?
I've got
It's
to go.
taking a second.
I got to go see a man about a dog. I'll be right back.
You go right ahead, sweetheart. It'll start here in
play
just a
was
second.
written many years ago in memory of a
Woo!
long-dead Egyptian
Thank
king.
you, Jesus.
2 young women were chosen to play the leading roles. The play was the whim of an American writer who thought to poke fun at ancient Egyptian superstition. Legend had it that the priests of Egypt cursed their dead king to wander aimlessly through eternity. They did this by forbidding anyone to speak his name.
We call out the name, Akhenaten.
That night, both women had eerie dreams about the cursed king, Akhenaten. One, that she was struck across the face. In the morning, she was nearly blind. Coincidence? Or was there another force involved? A curse working its evil way after nearly 4,000 years. Egypt. It was already a great nation 3,000 years before Christ was born. Its kings built enormous monuments during their lifetimes. By the 20th century, 33 royal tombs had been excavated in the Valley of the Kings. The most exciting discovery, however, was still to come. It would be the culmination of a sequence of events that began not in Egypt, but in the green fields of England.
Hello, Val. How you doing, darling? Welcome in, welcome in. Hey, Susan. Sorry, I had to do that. I just love you people so much. Okay, here we go. Sorry about no stash. Turtleneck though, and a blazer, so we're pretty good.
The Berkshire Downs. Highclere Castle is the ancestral home of the Earls of Carnarvon. The lord who presided here in the first quarter of this century would help make history. It would cost him dearly, however. The Earl did not leave the comfort of his castle and embark on the adventurer's trail by choice. A curious chain of events compelled him to go to Egypt. The present Lord Carnarvon remembers very well how it began.
First of all, my father had a serious accident in Germany, a motor accident, and he was rather badly injured. He also suffered from rather weak lungs, so his doctors said to him, doesn't matter where you go, but you must go to a dry, warm climate every year from now on in the winter months. So Papa said to himself, well, that's a fine kettle of fish. He liked shooting and everything else, so he decided that he'd go off at the end of the shooting season, about the beginning of February, and he went to Egypt.
Of course he did.
The rhythm of life along the Nile was a radical change for the Earl.
After he'd been there a few months, Lord Como was sent for him and said, my dear Porchy, he said, if you're coming out here regularly, you're going to be so bored you won't know what to do with yourself. So may I make a suggestion? Yes, indeed, I'd be honored if you'd tell me what to do. Right, he said, why don't you take up as a hobby Egyptology? He said, it's very interesting, and what's more, he said, it happens that at this moment of time I've got the very fella who will help you best. He happens to be an awfully nice young man called Howard Carter.
Howard Carter was an intense, driven man. After 15 years with the British Civil Service in Egypt, he'd been fired for refusing to apologize to a superior. Carter stayed on in Egypt because he had a dream. By the time Lord Carnarvon returned to England, he'd agreed to bankroll that dream. 15 years after the bargain was struck, Carter still labored in the Valley of the Kings. His dream? To find the tomb of King Tutankhamun. Professional archaeologists thought the valley had been picked clean years before. Carter disagreed. The search was exasperating. Carnarvon was threatening to cut the money off when in November 1922, Carter unearthed a staircase. At the bottom, a door with royal seals intact. The door had been sealed more than 3,000 years before. Carter couldn't be sure he'd found Tutankhamun's tomb, but whatever lay behind the door was bound to make his years of toil worthwhile.
And at that moment, he got to the stage where he was able to see that there really was the jackpot, the hopes that they'd worked for all those years. They uncovered the steps, the first steps. And at that stage, he thought the only thing to do was to quickly cable to my father, tell him to come out, which he did.
Carter waited patiently for Carnarvon's arrival. Together, they breached the door. "Can you see anything?" Carnarvon asked. Then, slowly, the answer. Yes, wonderful things. Wonderful indeed. Carter's vision and Carnarvon's patience had paid off. Beyond treasure, there was the undisturbed body of a long-dead king, the resting place of Tutankhamun, Pharaoh of Egypt. At last, Carter was face to face with his dream. Around Tutankhamun's neck, a magnificent gold collar. Carter recognized it as the vulture goddess Nekhbet, a warning to intruders. There were reports of another warning on a tablet that has since vanished. Death will slay with his wings whoever disturbs the rest of the Pharaoh. There was little time to worry about curses. Ahead lay the enormous task of cataloging the treasure. Word of the discovery of Tutankhamun's treasure spread quickly. Tourists were becoming a problem. Lord Carnarvon returned to Cairo with part of the treasure. He had no way of knowing it, but he would never see England again. Fever, brought on by an infected mosquito bite, ravaged the Earl's body.
When I arrived, there was my father, pulse beating in his throat. You could see he very bloodshot eyes, obviously frightfully feverish and ill.
You're not alone, Aunt Edna. We're all going with you, honey. And I love you. I love you. You got this. You know. Breathe in, breathe out. And feel the love. We're right there with you. You're not alone. Okay.
So, frightfully feverish and ill. So I say to the nurse, whatever happens,
Hey guys, sorry I had a little thing there when I stopped it. Is this in the right spot? Give me a 5-5 if I'm in the right spot or if I'm too far ahead. I apologize. I was concentrating on Aunt Edna and I lost my spot. Are we good right here, starting here? Mods, I know there's a delay. You know, I think there's like a 35 second delay. 5-5. Thank you, Linda. Sorry guys, I had to do that. You know, when one of us needs a little extra, we got to just send it that way. You know what I mean? Yep. I understand, baby. I understand. Yep.
for heaven's sake, call me.
The young Carnarvon went to his own room as his father fought what was to be the last battle of his life.
Sure as fate, about 1:55, the good lady is shaking me awake and she said, "Your father's drawn his last breath. Please come quickly."
Something was wrong with the lights, and young Carnarvon needed a flashlight to find his way to the Earl's bedside. Officially, the cause of Carnarvon's death would be pneumonia. The Egyptian press had another explanation.
Your father disturbed the remains of King Tutankhamun. He took his revenge, and he was responsible for the whole of the lights in Cairo going out at exactly the moment he died.
Lord Carnarvon was only the first of many who would die shortly after visiting the tomb of Tutankhamun. The discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb was a great event, but the sudden and mysterious death of Lord Carnarvon had cast a pall on the celebration. Carnarvon's grieving son returned to England, only to find new evidence that his father might have unleashed some malevolent force, which cost him his life. Already, the popular press was proclaiming Lord Carnarvon's death to be the revenge of the mummy. His son took refuge behind the walls of Highclere Castle. The memory of that awful night in Cairo would not so easily be shaken.
I had a little fox terrier bitch called Susie. And when I got back, very old-fashioned housekeeper, Mrs. McLean, said to me, "I've something to tell you, my lord. A really extraordinary happening. At 5 minutes to 4, and as you know, Cairo time is 2 hours. So we're 2 hours in front of Cairo. She said, Susie sat up on her hind legs. Her mouth was covered in foam. She let out a howl like a wolf and fell back dead."
Something of a panic set in. Collectors rushed to get rid of whatever Egyptian relics they possessed. Howard Carter's assistant, Richard Bethel, died suddenly of a circulatory collapse. Bethel's father, Lord Westbury, committed suicide. The chief Egyptologist at both Paris's Louvre and New York's Metropolitan Museum died shortly after visiting the tomb. American financier Jay Gould took ill and died within days of seeing Tutankhamun's final resting place. To date, 22 deaths have been associated with the curse. Oxford University became the center for an exhaustive study of the relics removed from Tutankhamun's tomb, and for an investigation of the curse many now believed was real. Oxford's Ashmolean Museum is still one of the richest repositories of Egyptian antiquities. Historian Henry Lincoln is a frequent visitor.
It's very easy with our 20th century skeptical, materialistic minds to dismiss the curse of the pharaohs as absolute rubbish. Well, it is just that, absolute rubbish. Death to anyone who enters this tomb is a pretty fierce curse to somebody with a superstitious mind, but it's just a threat, and a pretty ineffectual one at that. And we all know that the curse of the pharaohs was concocted by the popular press because Lord Carnarvon had sold the rights to the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb to the Times, and the other papers wanted something sensational to write about. But to the Egyptians, a curse wasn't rubbish. Tutankhamun's figured largely in the thinking about the curse. And it was Tutankhamun's father-in-law who, in fact, was cursed to wander in all eternity by the priests of Ammon.
The ram's head god, Amun-Ra, was dominant in Egypt before the reign of Akhenaten. Akhenaten introduced the practice of sun worship, symbolized by a new god, Aten. The priests of Amen were stripped of their power. Under this new religion, only the faith directly with Aten. The temples of Amen were defaced, but the priests bided their time. The old religion and the old ways went underground. Egypt's peasants apparently also maintained their loyalty to Amen. Akhenaten died in the 17th year of his reign. His tomb has never been found. Even as the young Tutankhamun was ascending the throne, the priests of Amen moved to regain their power. Akhenaten's name was eradicated from great monuments, his likenesses destroyed.
There was an American artist, Joseph Lyndon Smith, working in the tombs, taking copies of the wall paintings at the time that Tutankhamun's tomb was discovered. He felt it would be a good thing to intercede with the gods on behalf of Akhenaten and to lift the curse of Amon-Ra so that the pharaoh was no longer condemned to wander forever in eternity. He was going to do this by putting on a play.
The ruler is born like the atom and will endure for eternity if only
This
we
is a
speak
trip.
his name.
Listen to this.
We call out the name Akhenaten. Akhenaten, 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 Akhenaten. We call out the name Akhenaten.
At the final dress rehearsal, something unheard of happened. At the moment when Akhenaten's own prayer was being spoken, a colossal hailstorm began. To the Egyptian helpers who were there for the play, it was as if the gods were throwing stones at them. The rehearsal had to be abandoned. The two women who were playing Akhenaten and his mother, both that night had the same dream. Each dreamt that she was standing in a temple dedicated to Amon-Ra, and the statue of the god came to life and struck them. But for each woman there was one small difference in the dream. One of the women was struck across the stomach, and the other across the face. Within 48 hours, the one who had been struck across the body was having a serious abdominal operation, and the one who had been struck across the face had the most virulent case of trachoma ever seen in a European. She almost lost her sight. Everybody associated with that little play, within that period of 48 hours, had been struck down by some minor illness or other. Was that the curse of the priests of Ammon, still working after all those thousands of years? And if it wasn't the curse, what was it?
A new chapter to the mystery of the mummy's curse opened in 1976 at the Paris airport. The occasion was an eerie state visit. The mummy of King Ramses was arriving with pomp and circumstance due a chief of state. Something terrible was happening to the mummy, and Egypt wanted France to help. The mummy was taken to the Museum of Man in Paris. In a sealed laboratory, Egyptologists gathered. The Ramses mummy was among the most perfectly preserved of all those found in the Valley of the Kings. Now it was beginning to deteriorate rapidly. The Egyptians wanted to know if Ramses could be saved. Tutankhamun's mummy had been ravished by the time of its discovery. Some theorized the priests of Amen deliberately thwarted the embalming procedure. There has been no public announcement to date about what the French experts found when they unwrapped the body of Ramses. The speculation has been that a dangerous bacteria, perhaps dormant for thousands of years, is now alive and at work on the mummy. Egypt's priests knew something of biology. Perhaps they knew more than modern men imagine. In the tomb of Tutankhamun were many wonderful vessels of gold and alabaster. They were apparently designed to hold precious liquids and rare unguents. If they contained something else, something lethal, the secret died with the last priest of Amun-Ra. 1977 affords millions of Americans the opportunity to see Tutankhamun's treasures. They are on special loan from the Egyptian government and will tour museums in Washington, D.C., Chicago, New Orleans, Los Angeles, Seattle, and New York. 55 works of art from what many consider the greatest archaeological find in history. Time has eroded much of the mystery and awe which gripped discoverers Carter and Carnarvon. The curse is probably rubbish after all. Perhaps the priests of Amun-Ra tasted enough vengeance with the deaths of Lord Carnarvon and some of his close associates. After all, Howard Carter lived out a long and happy life, and he was the first to break the seals on Tutankhamun's tomb. If the priests of Amun sought to obliterate the memory of Akhenaten and his heir Tutankhamun, they failed. Their names have been rediscovered and spoken again and again. To a pharaoh, that was assurance of immortality. Life, symbolized by the Ankh. Earrings, probably worn by Tutankhamun as a young boy. The wooden figures are likenesses of favorite slaves, servants for the pharaoh in the afterlife. Other figures guarded the young king's tomb for the 3,000 years he was forgotten. If we believe the curse, we must believe something else. We must believe that in the end, Tutankhamun triumphed over the priests of Amun.
Yeah, I'm here.
Good, cool. Perfect music. Look how beautiful this is. Drum roll.
That Sinead O'Connor there. He's hitching a ride.
Yeah, I said NBC News, guys.
Beware of hitchhiking mummies.
That's right. Here's what Tut really looked like.
He looked like Michael Jackson.
That! That's a big difference.
Look on that girl's face.
They were trying to tell people that he looked like the last picture. Yeah.
And he wore a diaper.
Yep. He had a club foot. Yep.
I was just thinking wide childbearing hips.
He had buck teeth. Yep. Look at this. A new virtual autopsy came through and said his parents were brother and sister. So
that
yes,
explains a
very
lot.
royal. It's that inbreeding, man. I'm sorry, but that just cracked me right up, man. You know what I mean? So now you know why the sarcophagus is so
Yeah.
important.
As they open it up and go, who the hell's this?
Yeah. Yeah. Poor guy died at 19 years old, you know? Yep. Yep. Numerous people. 1922, that's right. I was close.
Blue Cross Road said, no, he's from Eastern Kentucky.
That's funny. That's funny. Look at the little mummy. Look at the There you go, guys. That was fun. I thought that was absolutely hysterical when I was looking through, and it said this great big thing, the NBC News and Smithsonian and everything. This is what King Tut looks like, and they put it through, and you could tell they put the eyes, the mascara or whatever. Hello, welcome in, Darkwoods, and all this stuff. He was regal looking, kind of pretty even, and then it was like 10 years later they did all this. They had a whole other way of doing it or whatever, and somebody came out told the
Probably
truth.
sequenced his DNA and then got a better representation of
Right.
what he looked like. Jeez.
That was something else though, huh? Oop. Did it again. I'm trying to fix the stinky camera. I'm telling you guys, we got to stop talking about this. Maybe
Hey,
it's
be
Yoko.
kind.
We think maybe it's Yoko. Maybe it's her. Maybe that's it. And Steve was asking me earlier if we were talking about
Larry Storch.
right, from F Troop. Did you know he passed? I don't think we ever.
Just
I know we
recently.
talked about F
We
Troop,
talked
but it's
about
been
him
a
at
minute.
one time. I think we were talking about like when Betty White died, some of the older living
Okay,
celebrities,
yes.
and he was like
That's been a
99,
minute.
I think, when he died. So
Mhm.
it's been a while. It took a while to catch up with him.
I just thought that was absolutely hysterical and looked and
And
said,
somebody
made a
else
big
I
thing.
heard died recently. Somebody we talked about, somebody from REO Speed Dealer or something. I don't remember what it was.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So what'd you think about I thought it was very cool the way it all happened, where this guy wasn't even interested. He just took up archaeology and then stumbles onto this thing. That,
And to me, that was the most fascinating part of it.
Yeah.
Was all that was at a time when explorers were people that were looked at, people like Robert Ripley, that they claim he just made a lot of stuff up. But
Mm-hmm.
if you read his books, he talked about traveling on the African continent or traveling to these strange places, and just the idea that I could see how that turned people on. Because when I was a kid and I read any kind of adventurers' journals or travel diaries or something, it made me want to get out there and go to these places, that nobody had ever seen before, that no
Mhm.
Americans had ever seen before.
Mhm.
And it just captured everybody's imagination. Same with King Tut, I
So
think.
true. Yeah, and I think that was too, like we were talking about. Do you remember? It was Bob Hope, Mig Crosby on the road to Bali, on the road to, all the
Mandalay,
different-
on
right,
the road
all
to
those.
all those road movies.
Yep. And the same thing with Abbott and Costello. They started doing that a little bit with them. And all these, but the thing is movies were to escape. So these people go
Yeah.
into the theater, from all around, You think in the Midwest, if you're on a farm and that's what you see as hard as you're working on a farm, today, but back in the day, so incredible. I mean, you're getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning. You go till from Ken till camp.
I have
That's
to
basically
milk
what
the
you-
chickens and gather the cow eggs and all that stuff.
It's hard work, and then maybe on a Sunday after church, after you've been to the church social and all that other stuff, you'd walk down with your friends and you'd get that quarter, and a quarter was enough to get you in the movies, probably get you some popcorn.
Get you some popcorn and maybe a nickel bottle of Coca-Cola.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And that's when you'd see your newsreels. You'd get the news. You get pictures because you're usually hearing it on the radio. And think about it. You're going back in the times. Not everybody. when
People always
TV came in,
the
then
talking
they'd everybody have
pictures.
one.
That's yeah.
Right. And sometimes, it took a long time families to get a TV or whatever. So that was the big thing. And then they're seeing all these different places and, all the MGM movies and stuff. It was all about color.
And that sticks with you. That's why I love travel.
Yeah.
I've often said if I could find a job where I could travel and write about it and get paid for it, that would be my dream job. that's kind of what I'm doing now with the channel.
I'm so
Even though
happy.
for now it's just here in America, but we've got plans to go overseas.
Mm.
But since March, I've been to Mount Shasta, San Francisco, the Redwood Forest, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier twice, Aberdeen,
Wow.
Tacoma, Olympia, Olympic National Park and National Forest, Gifford Pinchot National Forest, Pacific Beach, Ocean Beach, Westport, and Yakima twice. And that's just the
Yakima
high points.
twice.
That's
God, if that
the
isn't the name of a damn song, Steve.
that's the
And
the
Yakima.
that's the
I'm gonna
highlights,
write some
and
lyrics to
Yakima
that.
twice,
And Yakima twice.
and
That's
that's
a
not
card.
counting
Reminds me
all
of
the
that
little towns and
commercial.
stuff in between. 20 something individual places in 79 or 26 cities, I think, in 79 places. So that was
That's
just in
fantastic.
June. That was just in June that we
That
did
was
that.
last week.
Yeah, that we did those.
I'm so proud of
We
you,
we
man.
pack
So
as
I
much
couldn't be
in as
happier
we
for you
can.
guys.
Sandy is an excellent travel companion, chauffeur, bodyguard,
She's a good
cook.
human being.
She
Period.
is. She just
Yeah,
it'd
she's a
take
good
a
human
half
being.
dozen people to replace her, if even then.
I mean, if you got that, if people could say that about you, hell,
Yeah,
everything else is just
and
gravy.
just the travel, that's just given me a new lease on life, because
Second
literally
trip to the buffet,
I've
you know?
sat here in this room for the past 4 years anyway, and it's I mean, I've never been incarcerated, I've never even been arrested, but it feels like I've been let out of prison when we go on
And
these trips. It feels like
yeah,
I'm on the run, I'm on the lam.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see how many
And it's
places we
it's
can
good
go.
because
Let's
it's
see
also
what we
with a
can see.
purpose. And it's a purpose for something you love, and you're following your dream, and there's nothing like when you have a dream and you discover that other people enjoy that too, and it brings other people happiness
Yeah.
and comfort and friendship and
And
love,
just
and
being able to
it's
get out there and
what
see stuff that
yeah,
you've
it's
only
so
read
cool.
about or seen pictures of,
Couldn't be
like
happier.
in the Redwood Forest where we drove through that tree, the chandelier tree there. That's just I've seen pictures
It's
of that
cute.
since I was a kid, and
That's
then
cute.
here we are driving through it. It's just
It does
amazing.
remind me of a song. I've been to
Yeah, it's a
and
Johnny Cash song. I've
it's
been
something.
everywhere.
Yeah, I've been everywhere. Yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, yeah. Way to go, Steve.
Somebody else
Literally, Linda
did it
says.
first, I think, but Johnny Cash
On the
covered
road again. I
it.
can't wait to get on the road.
But
Yeah, but that's fantastic because
I'm just
again, your eyes and ears. You guys are eyes and ears for
well, that's
going
it.
out there and see. You're
We're
like the new MGM. You're
we're
like the
doing
new
intros
Bing
on
and
location
Crosby
and
and Hope.
outros. We're doing the B-roll footage and stuff. Everything
Yeah,
I see, you see a
yeah.
little bit of it,
Crosby
and
and Hope.
that's the sweet part about it. Like that trip to Mount Rainier. That was a singular effort to go up on Rainier, that trip. But that's the video that we made out of that with just my little intro and outro. It generated enough revenue to pay for the entire trip. So.
Go get them. Be kind. Go after it. We're living proof.
But
We are
if you have
personified.
the ability, if you have the option and the desire, travel, travel,
Yeah.
travel, travel.
Or
Now, I've been around the world
just follow
twice.
your dream. Oh,
So,
I hadn't, I think about, where I would like to see, and, there's a couple places, I'm more of a tropical person, so like Jamaica, things like that.
yeah.
And then I think about it, and it's like, I get tired going to the grocery store.
Yeah. Well, I've
I
been a
mean,
lot
it's
of
just,
places. In the early
yeah.
80s,
And
I
then times
backpacked
get,
through the UK and Europe.
yeah.
Went over to Morocco for a couple of weeks. Then in the early 2000s, I was in Southeast Asia and Australia for a couple of weeks. But I've never really seen America the way I'm seeing it now. The only way to see it is to get out there and drive it. You can't see it from an airplane or a bus or a car. If you stay in the car, I've done that. I drove from Orlando, Florida to Las Vegas when I moved there, but I did it in like 2 days. I didn't take time to look at anything. So on these trips, we plot, we plan, we know what we want to see. We have
Right.
a
And
loose
then you take
itinerary.
And you're also digging into the history and the stories, like the Kurt Cobain thing. You
Yeah,
can feel him by the bridge. I
and we
mean, it's
talk to
one thing.
people there. Any
Yeah.
haunted houses, any scary place? Have you heard any urban legends?
Yep.
Where's someplace you would never go? That's where I want to go.
Are you
So,
guys recording people when you talk to them, or are you writing it down? What do you got to
that's
get a recorder?
yeah. I've got all that. We haven't started doing that yet, but that's a feature that we're working on.
You
We'll
got
talk
to
to
do
people
that.
and
You
go
get
to a
the older
place.
people, get their
Yeah.
stories and their history. Man,
That's
that would be
you
huge.
blow into a town. The people that have the best stories are the teenagers because they know all the best parking spots,
Yeah,
and
true.
then your people that are in the elder care centers, the nursing homes, and the old folks home.
Mhm.
They've seen some shit. So that's another
Yeah.
thing that we're working on, where
That's a
we're
lot
going to
of
start
wisdom.
interviewing some. Now, some people are reticent to talk. They don't want to be recorded. They don't want to be on camera. So
Right.
have to
And
deal
maybe
with that.
we could just take it down and you can,
And put it
tell
in
them
the
we'll
book.
put it in the
That's
book
what
with no
Strange
name.
Things in the
Yep.
Woods is. It has their first
Yep.
name, maybe their last initial.
Yep.
Just about everybody in that book is
And
long
that's
dead,
what kicked
but
this
their
mule.
stories lived on. Yeah.
That's what kicked this mule. That's what started this whole thing. So again, that was your seed in the fertile ground. I mean, there was times that you forgot to water. You felt like it didn't get enough water, whatever. But it happened because you didn't stop. You kept going after it, and then good people.
We remember just a few
boom, boom,
years
boom,
ago,
boom.
I was sitting out on the porch smoking a cigarette, and you and I were talking about YouTube channels. What should I name it? And I was spouting off some. You liked 13 Past Midnight. You said, go
Yep.
with that one.
Go
And
with that one. It
there
felt
it is.
good. Felt
That's
good.
what got me noticed for Missing Persons and Mysteries. And
Nice.
now here I
Bang
am.
bang boom.
And
that's something.
I'd already written 1 or 2 books, and now I'm up to like 7, and many more on the way. I'm blessed. I
Yep,
can't
drastically
complain.
change your predicament just by sheer stick to it. What am I trying to say? Stick to itiveness. There we go.
Stick-to-itiveness.
Good God, I'm on a roll. First thing,
And
gemstones, and now this.
there's a quote that I put on Facebook
Those blue
this
people. I don't
morning.
want to cut you off. I don't want to forget that.
Go ahead.
I think Froze was talking about blue people in Kentucky. I'm going to bet if that family was blue, they were making their own colloidal silver, because back in the day, you could see that also a good version of that in the five people you meet in heaven.
Talking about the Moonlight
yeah.
people, or the Melungeons, or something. I think the Melungeons were different, but
Yeah, but
got a quote
people
here.
did get blue back then.
Sometimes the slightest things change the directions of our lives. The merest breath of a circumstance, a random moment that connects like a meteorite striking the earth. And that's by a fictional novel by Bryce Courtney called The Power of One. And it's about a young boy growing up in South Africa in the 30s and the 40s and everything that was going on there.
Yep.
And I want to thank Kelly Lipke, who's one of my new writers, for recommending that book to me. I'm loving it. It's given me, between that book and then what she tells me and the pictures she sends me, got a whole new perspective on South Africa. And gonna go there someday. Once the travel restrictions ease up a little bit, that's on the bucket list. The only part of Africa I've been to was Morocco, and I was only there for I think 10 days or something. Only then because I was in Spain, and I happened to figure out, that's Morocco, that's Africa over there across the Strait of Gibraltar. Geography was never my strong suit, but once I did that, I'm like, I gotta go. So I took a ferry over there. What do you got? What quotes you got?
No, I was going to say one of mine is my inspirational book recommendation. There's a lot of them, but I actually mentioned this one in Cabin 22 because it's a real gasser, and I'm telling you what, it really gives you perspective, and it puts you just right there, especially if you're a little older. You can kind of get this on your own, but this is a nice little road manual here. Can you see? Let me see if I can back it up.
Looks like you're holding a glowing... Oh, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a
Yep.
And then there's a follow-up to
Manson.
that. I've read that, and that will give you a new perspective on
Won't
everything.
it though? I mean, it's really good. And I had Dave reading it in the Cabin 22, and he was enjoying it too.
Liberating. And somebody in the chat there is mentioning Johnny Cash. I want to show you something I've got here.
Yeah.
It's a Martin guitar.
Nice.
And it's the Johnny Cash signature model.
Very cool.
I won't take it out of the gig bag, but it's a beautiful guitar. And that's actually my favorite guitar in prized possession right there. I love Johnny Cash. And I'm not much on country music. I grew up just east of Nashville and heard all the country music I could stand. But I love me some Johnny Cash.
Too, yeah. I can remember when he was younger, when it first came out, he was in there learning Hurt.
Yeah. Well, me, he's a storyteller. Yeah. You listen to a Johnny Cash song, you're going to get a story out of it.
Absolutely. Everybody loves it. Yep. Cool. So, I want to talk about the curse a little bit. We had that one British guy, and in the beginning he was like, it's absolute nonsense. But then toward the end, he got a little bit more like, is it? Because once they talked about that play and repeating the name. Now, isn't it funny, Steve, how, again, we keep saying all these things are connected. This is just a thought I had when I had it. How many people had this thought when they said that about repeating the name? Same thing with what? that
Yeah.
evil dark side, right? So
Mhm.
what is it about that? We don't ever really put pharaohs with evil. I mean, yeah, they had slaves and they were mean, and like a Simon Legree, anybody that is mean to another human being or
They
an
would
animal.
beat those slaves and literally work them to death.
Yes,
They would
literally.
make them work until they dropped dead, and then they'd
But did
put
we
another
ever
one in their place.
consider them evil? Did they ever put up the pharaohs as evil? I know in the Bible the pharaoh was portrayed that way. That's what I'm getting. I don't know,
Well,
and
you
I'm
had certain ones that were known to be evil, but I don't
right,
know that they all were. There were
right,
probably
but
some
not,
good ones and bad ones, just like anybody.
but certainly not in the same realm as like say a jinn, which I've heard can be both,
Hmm.
or say a demon, which you never think you could have a semi evil demon, like a demon with sprinkles. Like, I mean,
A pet
so,
demon.
I mean, yeah, yeah. Oh, we were talking about that
I heard
last
that.
night.
I heard that
Oh my
last night.
gosh. I don't want to, say anything. I don't want to Holy shit, Steve. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that was my reaction too.
Okay. Because I've got to be fair, and again, I wouldn't begrudge anybody business or their dream or anything else, and I don't mean that. I'm just talking about a generic,
Yeah.
take the people out of
But
it
to
and
me,
go,
a pet demon, that's like having a pet cobra. I mean, it might be fun to look at and keep in the box, but if you have it long enough, something's going to happen. It's going to get out. You're going to get bit.
piranha fish.
That's Nicolas Cage. He
Yeah.
had a couple of cobras,
Didn't-
and they got loose in his house,
Oh,
and
Nick
he
Cage and some
left.
cobras.
He just moved out and
Would
hired
you-
somebody to go and catch the cobras.
Would you love to have a video on that? Nick Cage with, he's something else. He can just pretty much do anything, but he's been around a long time. He's done a lot of stuff. I don't even think he reads the script. Just, I'll do it. Just schedule it,
Yeah.
He just does so
He
much
shows
stuff.
up, he does his part, and then it's none of his business. He just goes on his way,
Right.
buys $1 million comic book, gets pet cobras, buys
I
a
know.
castle and an island and all that. Man, I don't blame him. If I had that kind of money,
Yeah.
I'd
Other
have some
people
fun
have
too.
tigers. I mean, Mike Tyson's got I mean, again, I'm not big on, with the animals, but then again, they might be getting treated better. Who knows? But, ghosts in a jar, demons in a box. I mean, yeah, you get a Dybbuk box, but it's, no, I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not doing any spirit keeping.
I'm not just saying. Yeah, I'm not just saying. I ain't buying it. So it's got to be something else, because again, I don't get when if you're talking to a serial killer or something like that, like the people in the chat last night were saying, I don't want to talk to one live. Let alone, and what makes you think he's going to tell you the truth, and what's going to be? You've got all
Yeah,
that.
would
kind
you
of
have
stuff.
a pet serial killer? Would you have a serial killer friend that you'd come over and spend the night with and go
Nope.
out drinking and
Rebuke it.
bowling and eating pizza? No,
Rebuke
you
it.
distance yourself. To me, doing a demon is just the same thing.
That's just, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I mean, we've all heard the cautionary tales of, genies. Even I Dream a Genie was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
That didn't work out well. Even though she got married, she couldn't show up in her own video. Remember
Yeah.
that? She had to be a doll, And they said once they got married, it was the end of the show because they didn't have that.
Didn't have that chemistry, that friction there.
Nope.
Nobody cared anymore.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not trying to bash the place, but I'm
Now,
not going to.
Donnie, I
I'm
can
not gonna
handle a
go
pet
back.
ninja. They're quiet. You
Yeah.
never see them. They don't eat much, probably.
I'm not going to disrespect myself and go back on things I've said about, I'm not for the haunted, children's hospitals. I'm not even real big on the jails, but I figure, they, made their, cell. They need whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's a little different. Like I could see I wouldn't go to Alcatraz, but I could see that a little more than an insane asylum where these people have been put through so much and now they're in death. And I just don't know how you could trust any evidence, figure it out.
Yeah, well,
why
it's
do you want
like,
to torment
and if it
them?
really is people, yeah, it's like putting them in a zoo. How would you like that? To
you gotta
people parade
help
through
them.
and yell at you and poke fun at you. And one of the best analogies I ever heard was from you. But if you saw somebody in a hole,
Yeah.
You wouldn't. Hey, what's it like to be in that hole? How
There you
long have
go.
you been in the hole? I bet you wish you could get out of the hole. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
everybody, come and look. There's a guy in a hole over here.
Yep.
No, you said you would get down and do whatever you had to do,
You get them
pull
out.
them out of that hole and
Yeah.
get them out of there.
As long as
Same,
they've
same
reached
with
up,
the
I'd
people
reach
that
down.
cross the ghosts over. Now
Yep.
there may be ghosts that don't want to cross over for
That's their
whatever reason.
choice, though.
Yeah,
That's free
and
will.
then I've heard of people going to a place like a bed and breakfast where somebody was going to attempt to cross their ghost over, and they threw them out because that's our livelihood. If you get rid of our ghost, nobody will come and stay here. That's
And
that's kind of wrong on some
yeah,
level.
I do. I have to be honest. I mean, if I came up here and just lied, you know what I mean? Who would I be? I wouldn't be any better than the people I get mad at, So
No.
I have to tell the truth. And I mean, I didn't look into that place, and if I did, like again, they got free advertisement. I'm all for the history. I'm all for people getting a business and doing their dream and everything else. I'm not saying anything against that. It's not my business. But as far as going in there myself or trying to figure out why somebody else would want to, it's the same as I think about why would you want to buy a demon house? Are you trying to, what are you doing? Because
What do you hope to accomplish?
I've seen the bad end of this. I've seen people's lives destroyed. I've seen them die. I mean, I said it last night on the thing, this crap about ghosts can't hurt you and all this other stuff. Okay, what kind of ghost are you talking about? Are you talking about, because if you're weak and infirmed and they're constantly pulling energy on you, like one of those goblin gobblers, whatever they're called on Harry Potter, that, like that shadow thing that hovers over you, just, that kind of thing. You get...
Davy Jones Blocker.
Hey, Davey, how you doing, sweetie?
Matey. Thought about you a couple of weeks ago. I was in Westport, Washington, at the coast there. They had a pirate festival, and
Nice.
I think you would have liked it.
Yeah. We used to have a good one out here, but the old another con, whatever it's called, went through, and so many businesses shut down. But it was a great big old a pirate thing with the islands and the sunken boat and and the
They do that over
swashbuckling.
on the Outer Banks of North Carolina too.
Yeah, would have been cool to
The
have that
Coke,
job.
I think it is. Whoever Teach's Hole is, where Blackbeard used to come and park his ship there. There's a lot of pirate stuff over there. So if you like pirates,
listen, man. Yeah, if you like pirates, hit it up. But again, there's something else. It's free and on the water. And everything else. But they're pillagers and did a lot of bad, and I don't know.
But there's a romanticism about it, and I think that's what it is. Nobody
like
thinks about the killing and robbing and sinking ships and taking
like the
lives.
mafia.
It's you've got this swashbuckling. You've got Errol Flynn, coming down the sail on a knife, and pulling his sword out and doing all the daring do and the gentlemanly stuff. It wasn't like that at all, but
a pirate.
It's fun to think about.
Hey, JK. A pirate's favorite letter is R.
R. They only need one letter on their keyboard. R.
It's not above me and Steve to go for the low hanging fruit jokes. We'll do it every time. That tickles us.
We'll do it again. You can't stop
it. I might just marry a pirate, a 350-year-old. Now there's another thing.
There you go. The people that marry ghosts.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying, what are you getting yourself into?
What do you hope to get out of
You know
that?
what I mean? What are you getting out of there? Because it didn't seem like she had a whole lot of stuff, but he had a whole little altar there with the best cards and the best rum and the best stuff. What are you doing for yourself, girl? She should have married a bigger candle. That's all I'm saying. I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to try to get this.
I'm not going to touch that
Don't touch it. Leave it alone. Keep them big fat candles burning. I'm going to attempt, because I'm brave and a redheaded living behind enemy lines in New Jersey. So I'm going to try to get you this last little video that I did. If by any chance this is the end, I love you, Steve.
Waiting for the mummy's curse. Your ceiling's going to collapse, and all that air conditioning equipment's going to just.
Poor guy.
That'll be your tomb. It'll be the tomb of Cisco Common.
I got people coming in the doors with reciprocating saws and and all this other stuff, and I'm like, it's going to be okay. Then I'm sitting on the couch and I'm trying to think about, because I was going to go for laughter is a healing think we're going to do that in the future because I just think I so believe in that.
Laughter is the best
Yeah,
medicine.
because In Search of's got one, and Leonard talks about it. It's wonderful. And I was coming up with funny stuff. I spent probably a good 45 to 50 minutes going through all these little things that I could use to show you, like comedian stand-up short little tickety-top things or something, just to have some laughter things and fun animal videos. And I couldn't find anything funny, I swear. And nothing tickled me, you know. And so I went to the pets. And then I got in this one somebody thought was funny to show a cat fight. I don't understand what's funny about a cat fight. I just don't. But that's, see, again, like I said, I had a hard time finding funny shit. And all of a sudden, with my loud phone, this tomcat's it starts pulling that, and I got cats coming from everywhere to protect me, and I felt so bad. And here comes Dickens, about 3 sizes bigger than he usually is, comes straight for me like
that hair
"What's
standing
going-"
straight out.
And I felt so bad. They're all just looking. I stuck my phone but I wimped out, totally wimped out. Shoved the phone behind my back. And I went, "Good drill, guys. Now the real thing happens. We're all gonna be ready." And they're just looking at me like I'm crazy. People coming in and out.
Lynn Addison's got a good comment there.
Which one? Let me see. Let me get it up here. Oh my gosh, this show. Did you take a look at the woman who married the pirate ghost? She got hit by the ugly truck and then backed over her. Yeah, well, she come by it honest. Now, she had to get a divorce via exorcism. Now, that'll take a toll on a woman. So, and that's not a joke. That's actual, you know, she's showing documentation and everything else. She was on NBC News. It has to be true.
Well, there's a story about a guy that there was a knock at the door one day. He goes to the door. There's a policeman there. And says, "Sir, I'm sorry, but it looks like your wife's been hit by a truck." And the guy says, "Yeah, I know, but she's got a good personality."
Now that's funny.
I'll be here all week, folks. Don't forget to tip your waitress.
Oh my God. See, now that's funny. That's what I was looking for 45, 50 minutes on the interwebs, and I couldn't find it. So
We need to have a comedy show. That's actually something I've thought about before. I even made a channel. I've never done anything with it, but I would like to have like a sit-down comedy show where it'd have different comedians come on 1 hour a week and tell silly jokes and just be funny. I did stand up back in the 80s and again in the 2000s in Las Vegas. So I've got friends that are real comedians and some that are not so real. But we'll have to do that sometime. We'll have a comedy show.
I love the stuff like that one. Okay, I'm gonna get just for description purposes only. Little Italian guy, and he's starts with an M. Come on, Chad, help me out. He's funny as all get out. No, he's a big Italian guy. This guy's a little skinny guy, but he's funny. Oh God, he's funny. And he talks about how back in the day you used to get company, you'd have out comes the Sanka, out comes the Entenmann's, the special. Welcome. Oh my God, look at you. You look great. Oh my God, it's wonderful you've come in. Come sit, the coffee, have the Sanka, all this other stuff. Now when somebody knocks on the door, everybody hits the floor and hides behind the couch. That guy, that's
Be
funny.
quiet.
That's funny stuff. Did you invite anybody over? Who's here? What's going on? Get everybody down, you know.
Here, go flush this
Somebody's
down
gonna
the toilet.
Yeah, somebody's going to come up with it. All right, let me see if I can get you this little video. Now, I stuck that thing up there that Vixen said. Vixen Doe, you have no idea, honey. Are you a psychic? It said, if you want to, I'm pretty sure. Oh, thank you, be kind. They're going to save us from the mummy curses. Yep. And, yeah, I wish you'd been here today because I'm telling you what, it was absolute pandemonium up in here. And the only funny crap I could find was going on in my freaking house. I couldn't get you anything.
And during it all, I bet Mario was sitting there listening to
He wasn't
James
here. He's at
Bond,
work, the lucky duck. I took
yeah.
the day. I had
And
Monday's
there
Monday
was
off.
James Bond in surround sound.
Yep. Oh gosh. Oh please, with James Bond, shoot me.
I remember one time you told me you were
hate
going to
James
smother him
Bond.
with a pillow.
I swear to God, I'm killing one day. It's gonna be
James
and I'm just
Bond
gonna be like
marathon.
this. I'm gonna be when they knock on the door to come get me. Just go ahead. It's James Bond. You know, call Steve, tell him it was James Bond, he'll know. You know, you're my one phone call, my friend. You will be my one. James Bond, I cracked. But she's saying, want to banish a mummy, throw a cat at it. Absolutely. And I'll tell you why. It's so funny. Man, I love you guys. Because if I can get this video up, you'll see why at the very end. So here we go. Let me try to do that. Oh, gosh. Cross your fingers. Cross your toes.
Roll that
Cross your
beautiful
eyes.
bean footage. Here we go.
Oh, maybe. Maybe. Oh, God, Cisco.
We're going to escape the curse.
You crazy person.
We're going to outrun it.
We can outrun it. We can
This
beat
is
it.
the mummy.
Beat
He's
it,
slow.
beat it.
We're going to throw a match at him.
Is it going to work?
There it is.
Yes! And I love this song. Oh, I hope you have headphones on. This is so badass, this song. You guys remember this from Castles. I want my mummy. Darkness is Coming by Kevin MacLeod. How do you pronounce that, Steve?
I just said McLeod, but I don't know if that's right or not.
Yeah, it could be. They get a bad rap, Steve. Yeah, I went there.
That dad jokes.
Again, low-hanging fruit every time. Why jump when you can just reach?
Yeah, this kind of reminds me of an Enya, Lorena McKinnon type thing.
I love this song
Kevin
so
is
much.
so talented.
So this is actual picture of the ceremony, like the beginning. And the Scooby-Doo! Mummy movies, I recommend you slowly walk to, like this. Or you can crawl. You can crawl. You don't do the low crawl. That's a great pick. There you go, Steve. 1932, man. That was the one that scared the crap out of me. It was the Tana Leaves. Remember? Boris Karloff? Look at that. $453,500 for a poster. Look at this.
You got an old woman. She was slow.
I know. She crept up on her. Look at him. I loved him as the mummy. There you go. Just for you, Steve. Yes!
Quicksand.
Scared the hell out of us. Oh, my God.
I always knew that's what was going to get me when I was a kid.
Oh, gosh. So creepy. I loved this one. 1955, Abbott and Costello. Now, the mummy, they weren't even trying with this mummy, but man, Abbott and Costello, right? 55. Yeah, he was cool. He definitely was cool, Ann. Tana Leaves with a yes. Look at his face. They weren't even trying. He's wearing a onesie. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Ah!
See, he's got plenty of time to get away.
But thanks, bro. I'll just get closer. $1959. I like this one too. Christopher Lee. And I really dug this one. I don't know. Guilty pleasure, I guess. 1999. And this was the one with Brendan Fraser.
Now, I did like the Mummy, the ride that they had at Universal Studios. That was fun.
I hadn't gone on it, but I really liked this. This was, kind of right for me. It had a little something to do with the guy on the right, though, I'm sure, for me. He was something. And I gotta tell you, the girl that was in this that played the part, she's absolutely beautiful in this movie. I mean, she really was. And it took place in 20 space, basically based on the King Tut being found. That's her, Rachel Weisz. Man, she was gorgeous in this, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah.
Just something else. That's a cool mummy. Really was. $3,000-year-old legacy of terror. There he is, guys. Oh my. This music. Oh my God.
Not the cat.
I want my mummy. Oh gosh, can't believe that played. That's wonderful. There you go, guys.
That was
Just
awesome.
a little fun. Wasn't that great? So that's what I did on my couch today. You're welcome. The cat at the end when he threw that cat.
Laid
the
on the
little
couch
gif.
and mummied all over the place.
Yep. But that I really dug that movie. I know there's a lot of people that cut it and this and that, but I thought it was
Brendan
really
Fraser
well
one.
done.
Yeah, I tolerated that one because it
Yeah.
had a little something extra in there that.
Uh-huh.
I said the early mummy, he just wasn't that scary to me.
I'm not
Never
a fan
was.
of this last.
I mean, if
what
I
do you
saw
call it,
one
the
in my
Tom
house,
Cruise?
I'd probably be like, WTF,
Yeah.
But
Thank
it wouldn't.
Linda liked it. Yeah, I was not so much on the Tom Cruise one.
Do
You know
like
what I mean?
Scooby Doo, you just grab the end of the bandage and run with it, and he starts spinning like a top,
Oh,
and
gosh,
then you
yeah.
got the naked Kentucky in there left behind. But
Yeah.
showed.
Yep. Thank you. Oh gosh, that's funny. Thank you and your couch, Cisco. Oh my gosh, honey.
Check out our "Are You Kidding Me?" comment there. She's got a good one right above that.
Okay, got it. Thank you. And then Mummy have any friends because he was wrapped up in. Oh, good one. Oh gosh,
Love
yes.
the
Slinging that
low-hanging
low-hanging
fruit.
fruit. I love it. See, that's for me and Steve Liv. You know what I'm saying? We're all about those old sayings and everything else, and pretty near, and
Hey,
and I
Tom
just think
Cruise
it's
needs to
great.
be a mummy.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, but then again, I don't like Tom Cruise. I never did, and I don't know why. I don't
He
know
plays
why.
the same guy in every movie.
Yeah,
He's the
I mean,
hot shot
even, like,
bartender,
Risky
the hot
Business, I just-
shot fighter pilot, the hot
Arrogance.
shot this, that,
I just
well,
don't think arrogance is sexy. I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's gross. I'm not real big on that. Just yeah. I mean, I dealt with a lot of that in bands and stuff like that. And goddamn, no offense, Blue, but guitar players and stuff like that coming in, the lead guitar players. It's like, I'm Eddie Van Halen. No, you're not. You're Bubba Smith. I mean, we used to have a lot in the Army too, because what are you gonna do? If you're really living on base and hanging out, everybody's got something, But, yeah, I mean, it's right away, it's like a bad taste. I mean, anybody, stars, Hollywood people, anything like that, it's just like, no. The arrogance just makes me ill. I know so many, human beings that are walking around right now that should have a spotlight on them for their talent, for their kindness, for their humanity, for their, real charity work, helping neighbors, helping families, helping a whole family. I know 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 10, 8-year-olds that, took care of their baby sisters and brothers most of their lives because their parents couldn't, do it, or one had to go to work and the other one was worthless or whatever. It never, what was that old thing? Never got a trophy, or never got an honor, or whatever. There's a lot of heroes walking, and a hero will never tell you they're a hero.
Yeah.
When people start coming out and saying, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm all these big things, it's kind of like a turnoff to me. And that's kind of, to me, what Tom Cruise is, Plus, isn't he saving the world? Isn't it Scientology believe he's saving the world single-handedly, by the way? So, anyhow. But that's that, and I thought it was really cool, all those movies. I put in the ones, of course, I thought that either got a high rating from a lot of people, reviews-wise. There was a couple in there. Basically it's just because I liked them. I thought the Abbott and Costello one, even though it was cheeky, it's cheeky, but all of them were, and, they'd write those, simple scripts.
Now,
They followed
did
the
Jesse
same
James,
crap.
did he ever meet the mummy? I know he met Dracula and
I don't have a
Frankenstein.
clue.
Do you remember those old black and white movies?
I heard something about it, yeah.
Billy the Kid meets Dracula, or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
I don't know if any
Yeah,
of those guys ever met the mummy.
I think
It
there
was
was
Billy
one
the
that
Kid,
was
not Jesse
Abraham
James.
Lincoln zombie killer or something, wasn't it? Something like that.
Let's
I remember
see.
not too long ago.
Billy the Kid.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, but honest to God, I mean, like, really raising the kids, I mean, for good or bad, most of the ones I know about were just, bad.
In
bad
1966,
parents,
Billy the Kid versus Dracula.
Okay.
Don't see a mummy though.
Yeah, lead singer disease. There you go. That's another one. exactly. Oh, we had Blue. Here's a quick story. Okay, so we had this one lead singer, right? And he reminded me a lot of the guy. If you ever remember the band Loverboy, okay,
Yeah.
you have to really want it because they only had like one or two little hits there back in the day. So anyway, they opened for Huey Lewis and the News, and I'm sitting in the front row center. This guy sweat so bad, and he had hair that was really thick, like that, like early 80s hair, the poof and the blow dry. And he, every time in between, during guitar solos, he would run back behind the thing and get his hair blow dried and come back. That's how much he sweat. And he's shaking his hair, sweat all over me. But anyway, he reminded me a lot of this lead singer that was in our band. We had a band called Stargazer. They used to ask, managers would ask us, "Are you good?" To say no, but we're loud. That was us. So anyhow, there's a lead singer, and I won't say his name, but he had that disease, and all the girls, he was, fairly handsome dude, but he knew it, which made him not so good looking, in my eyes anyway. So he would get pulled down by these girls, like in between. He'd reach down, think he was big stuff, just tie off and throw it, that kind of stuff. That's not bad. But he'd reach down and like be kissing the girls in the front, just one right after the other. It got to be a thing, which I thought was kind of gross. Especially because he was so sweaty, just like Loverboy guy, right? So we were drinking. It had to be a friend of ours brought in some moonshine that somebody in his family had made, and we started drinking moon. Anytime a story has we were drinking moonshine in it,
there's going to be problems.
So I didn't have that much. I stuck to my beer, but I had, taste of it. And I said, anybody drinks this tonight's going home in an ambulance. And he's reaching down to kiss these girls. And this one girl, she wants her turn. And he's trying to pull back. And right in the middle of our lead guitar players, I can't remember what song it was. I think it was Adam Raised the Cane, Bruce Springsteen. I think that's what it was. So he's going off on this thing. Everybody's looking over here at Larry Hennessy playing this lead, and I'm looking over at the lead singer, and I'm going, "You got to stop, man. Stop. He's going green. Throws up over every girl in the front row. So, that's what arrogance will get you, I guess, and being loose. And don't stand in the front row over anybody that's standing on a stage above you and they're turning green. There's your moral to your story. But, yeah. So I don't know what to say about the Mummy, Steve. Going into this, I'm going to be honest and say I don't believe we should be digging up people. You know, and I went the same place you did with the gold. Oh, my God, And then he says he's got artifacts, and people took artifacts home. Because if you remember during the video, they had all of these newspaper articles that said everybody was turning back the artifacts that they had, getting rid of them. So obviously they had to have them to get rid of them. What are you doing taking that stuff? It's stealing. You didn't find it, You know what I'm saying?
And the artifacts, like if I'm out walking in some farmer's plowed field and I find an arrowhead, that's one thing. They shot that, away and lost it, didn't go back and get it. But if you find somebody's bones where they've been buried there specifically, that's you just find somebody's bones, period. That's not something you can collect and not something you can put in your cabinet and look at or something. That's just wrong. You put another human on display like that.
We used to go arrow hunting all the time in Alabama, Tennessee. I know you probably did too, because they plow the field. They plow the field
and wait for the first good rain and walk that field. You can find them on top of the ground.
Yep, absolutely. That's how prevalent they are. I'm not joking. And found many that were full pieces, many, and a lot of them. Even my sons, the way I raised them, I was so proud the day that. This guy came up in the field who was looking also. My youngest one had found an arrowhead. And he came up and offered him some money for it. He said, "No, you don't sell these." He was like 7. So we're putting some good ones out in the earth. You know what I mean? You don't sell them. You either treat them with reverence or, put them back where you found them or in a better spot, and rebury it or whatever. It's just... Yeah, there's got to be some of that, and I think that has something to do with self-respect too, and that might be some of the problems going on. We're not teaching people to respect themselves, and respect being here and respect the things that are around us, that everything is
Indeed.
connected, and the bees, the animals, everything. And if I do one thing before I cross over, is to let people know that you are most assuredly accountable for your deeds.
Oh, absolutely.
And, I'm not saying that there's going to be a judge up there pointing fingers, because that's not the way it works. Think about this. How would ultimate good do something like that?
Mm-hmm.
It would have you judge yourself. And that is the hardest thing.
That is, when you were a kid,
Thing.
when I was a kid, my dad would sit me down. I want you to sit there and think about what you did. He let me shame myself. And when you talk about getting upset, when you start to sit back and reflecting,
Thinking
and
about
you
it.
think how you let people down or hurt somebody's feelings or something, and
Or
that's
let
just
yourself down.
how
by
to
doing
crush you.
something.
Yeah.
I mean, some people learn by getting caught at something, like say shoplifting candy bars or whatever. I remember I did that once.
And so then you learn not to get caught the next time.
Well, no, I didn't get caught. I didn't get caught, but I swear to you, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain that. I
Well,
remember as
you
a
get
kid.
that feeling, that when you
Yeah.
realize you've done something you shouldn't, instead of
Yeah.
taking a delight or a glee in it, like somebody, you get the guilties about it. I've been there too. I've done stuff and think, hee.
Yeah.
And then when you do it, and then you think about it, it's like, damn, that was a rotten thing to do.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
bad about that a little bit.
Yeah, and that's why again,
Hey, Fast
somebody in
Tammy.
here, I think hi, honey, a couple of people in here were saying as it was going by was,
You know what?
every time you say that
Nickelback
word, a
can kiss
camel dies.
old
Or is that just playing their
Nickelback
song?
can kiss old Rusty.
They made some money. Look at this photograph. So, yeah, that's the thing that gets me about. I'm wondering if I don't think these people felt. Well, I can't say that because I don't know. But does feeling guilty about something make a curse work better? So if you fear a curse, I would say yes, it gives it energy.
I think
And
so.
I think you can, like I said, you can curse yourself, just by saying I
I'm
can't.
not
so,
Catholic, but I've talked to people that talk about how that good old Catholic guilt can get in there and either make things even more titillating to you or make you feel even worse about it, just depending on which way you flow with it.
And I think everything has that. If you look at all the different, whatever you want to call standard religions, even if it's, tribal or, because it's anything that you do that reflects badly on yourself, your family, or your village.
And
You
then
know what
when
I'm
you
saying?
have that self-realization that
and we lost that somehow.
and
You know,
you do
we don't even talk to our neighbors.
it takes something away from you when you're ashamed of yourself.
Yes, but somehow that has to be put in there. So I really think that once we start changing things and
Hey,
moving
Barbie.
it from digging somebody up that's dead and at rest, no matter who they may be. Hey, Zozo dude, welcome, love. I love you, baby. That once we start calling it something else to justify it, like archaeology, science, for the greater good.
Just call it what it is, grave robbing.
There it is. And once you just realize that you can't just shift something away from, and make it something that's wrong and make it right by, whatever. So it's something with the Egyptians. Of course, they knew they were putting valuable things in there. They had to deter people. Pirates did it too. How many stories have we heard where they would kill the people that helped them bury it, not just to keep the cigarette,
to keep their
guard,
spirit there
to
to protect
guard over everything.
Yeah.
Yep. But so I think that's it, and that's another thing. I personally believe in the curse, and I don't think there's a time on it, and whether it's we're doing this to curse you if you open this, we're going to let loose this bacteria or whatever it may be. That maybe it wasn't the mosquito itself, maybe it was something that they got on their skin.
There was a time when something simple like that could kill you. I can't remember who it was. I think it's a famous author struck a match to light his pipe. Ember jumped off the match and burned him on the end of the nose, but caused a blister. The blister got infected. He got blood poisoning and he died. I mean, stuff back then, a lot
It
of things
happened.
could kill you back then. There's
Yeah,
something simple
yeah.
like that.
Right. Now, the stuff about the one that really got me, that made me think, and I looked into it a little bit, and I found that, I mean, so long ago, it's hard to say because you don't know if they got the information from the seed information that started it.
Yeah.
It's really hard to verify something that goes back that far. But the dog that died at the same time, it raised up, it howled, it foamed at the mouth, and keeled over and died the same time as as its owner did in Egypt. While it was at home, because he was talking about the time difference was 2 hours, but they died.
Yeah.
It was at the same time. So that's, at the same time this guy's father died, who was the one who found the tomb and opened it. So it seemed almost like it would be stronger for the first people that went in there and actually broke down the door, and then maybe kind of filtered out, and
I think though the first ones that escaped it, it was
got
visited
9.
on their families because that was even more of a gut punch to them. I mean,
Wow,
you
yeah.
opened this tomb, we could kill you, but instead we're going to go kill the rest of your family. Now, what do you think?
Yeah.
There's my curse.
Yeah, there's mafia for you. Yep.
And you want to see a scary thing about a mummy's curse? Watch the Courage the Cowardly Dog episode with King Ramses in it. That is one of the spookiest, scariest cartoons I've ever seen.
Really?
Anybody
What
that's
is it?
ever
Say it
watched
again.
Courage the Dog, I think it's called The Curse of Ramses or something like that. And my daughter watched that when she was a little scared. Her and scared me. I was like, wow, that's the creepiest cartoon. Any Courage the Cowardly Dog fans in here want to back me up on the Ramses,
Back 'em up.
The Curse of Ramses? Let me look up the episode name.
Is this true? Is that true, Steve? It probably is.
Probably. I may have killed a few people with mine. And,
is that documented, Corey? Is that a documented thing? Gosh, I know now, a long way to come now, people are selling them in a jar on eBay for lots and lots of money. Yep.
I know somebody that almost got killed because of a fart in a jar.
That would be you. That would be you. Hey, let me ask Zozo Dude a question. Did you know that Brad and Blue Eyes got engaged? I hope to see if you're coming out Thursday. So many people, in the turmoil and everything else, people are finding a way to keep love continuing on. Just keep doing that. Keep the candles burning and don't dig up anybody. And if you do, put it back.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, King Ramses' Curse.
Yep.
An ancient artifact is stolen from an Egyptian tomb. Courage discovers it buried outside the house. Unfortunately, it carries a curse with it, and the farmer refuses to return it, believing he can claim a fortune for it. The curse descends.
Hey, Barbie, thank you so much. We got a super sticker,
Awesome,
Steve.
Barbie. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. It
Mwah,
all goes
thank
back into the channel to
Absolutely, it does.
alleviate some of
promise
Cisco's
that.
expenses there and
I
keeping
promise
this
that.
on the air.
I promise that. I myself do.
But
I'm
that's
not gonna
probably
mess
on
up now,
YouTube.
too close to the edge.
Courage the Cowardly Dog, King Ramses' Curse. Go look at that. It will scare the what out of you. It
Freaky
did.
Fried creep me out. Freaky Fried. Okay. All right. I'll have to check that out. I'd never heard of it. Unless it's just me.
Glenn Danson, I doubt
Alzheimer's.
that it's a true story because it's a cartoon, but hey, you never know. Sounds like it's based on some of these real Egyptian curses. But it's just the way it's put together and the way they do the
Based
King
on a true story.
Ramses, and he's all like wavering in the background.
Yeah.
Put back the
Something I've
stone.
found out for sure,
This is-
Steve, and you might agree with this, that the
Oh.
older I get, the more I realize the truth is absolutely stranger than fiction, dude.
It absolutely is.
I mean, I see it every day. Look at what I seen today. I'm like trying so hard. I mean, this guy had to be so hot, but I'm just like,
Fleischware, spark plugs, shovel handle, razor blade, light bulb for the attic.
oh wow. That's creepy. Ooh, suffer
Return the
my
slab or suffer my curse.
Suffer
Yeah, it's
my
just
curse. I do.
you got to see it for a
Don-
cartoon. It's frightening.
Without a doubt, Donnie. I mean, I'm not here to tell you we're out of time tonight, but I could tell you stories, honey. I could tell you stories. That's why last night bothered me so much, because I'm like, oh my gosh, when are people going to realize that, poor Laura going in there. I'm glad we got her, and in time and everything.
MPM 1125 falls under fair use doctrine. We just used a few seconds, and it was for educational and illustrative purposes that we were commenting on. Thank you.
There we go. But I do appreciate the heads up. But, because Steve and I deal with that all the time. I mean, it was like when you did Kurt Cobain and you did the karaoke, which you could usually get away with. And we're not trying to get away with to make money. We're trying to use it to add to the ambiance of the episode. You know what I mean?
Let's have a show. I think we've done cursed objects and cursed films and cursed books and things. Let's do just a cursed marathon, maybe some other time in the future, where we talk about curses again, common curses, and maybe not so well known curses.
Yeah, Donnie, you get Donnie on the perspective. He digs up stuff that we'd never heard of.
Be Kind, is that in New Mexico?
What is? Thank
Chaco
you so much, MPM.
Canyon.
And Froze Moment liked that a lot. Thank you, Froze. I mean, I really dug that.
We appreciated MPM 1125. We appreciate
absolutely.
But
looking at
Cisco and I have done this enough that we pretty much know what we can get away with.
I get clipped all the time.
Every now and then we'll get dinged on something. But
and I'll put something in, and it'll say it's cleared, and we're good to go, and it'll be cleared for 5-6 days, and then some jerk will go, you know what? That's whatever, and I'll be like, screw it, take it out. And that's why I say watch the live, because I primarily do it for the gatekeepers and everybody. Everybody listening later, absolutely, just as important. But if you're here on the live, you might see things live that you might not see in the thing, because somebody comes in later and says, whatever, and I'll be like, there's a song in the background, or there was a picture of something behind the person. I mean, I've heard all kind of stuff. I mean, I gave one to Steve, and it was 20. I can't remember what it was. It was like 47 seconds out of a 3-hour thing, and then wanted all the money for the whole daggum thing. Yeah. So we took it out.
Be Kind. She wants to organize a trip to Chaco Canyon. She wants to go, but not alone. Read some things about how unsafe the airport/area is. Navajo has a guided tour of the relics. Hold that thought. I'm going to be doing some stuff in the Southwest very soon.
There you go. I really want to go. Okay. All right. That's the thing, too. Don't be afraid to, get in here if you've got, a safe spot, people to meet, like a convention or something like that. And again, be very careful online. Always be careful online. Don't be crazy. Don't be stupid. I don't think anybody should go to meet anybody they don't know without backup help and a good stick in their purse. Let's just put it that way, or something else, But I think you can't let the fear keep you from doing things too, as long as you're smart about it. So meetups and things like that, and there's all kinds of stuff, and just going to meet up at, say, like Mount Rainier or whatever, and a bunch of people, 20-30 people going. Just be
Donnie,
careful,
you can
be
go.
Smart about it.
We need somebody to carry the luggage.
No,
I'm kidding. You're more than welcome to go, Donnie. I'd love to have you on some of our adventures where we meet up as a group like that. That would be. I still want us all to go to Joshua Tree at some point.
What's this? I don't know this one.
I'll have to.
Chaco Canyon?
Chaco Canyon. That's the one she's talking about, where she wants to go.
Okay.
I'll have to look into that. It's like I said, I've got some stuff planned coming up in the Southwest, and
that's exactly true.
Something worth looking at.
That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. And that's why I was laughing when people say, and I don't mean to laugh, but I've earned 50 years being in this, in the center of this paranormal onion, whatever it is, trying to peel my way into it or out of it. I'm not sure which, but I kind of earn the right to chuckle every once in a while, because, I when somebody says this house has history, I'm like,
every house has history.
Yeah.
And the ground under that house has history.
And the ground under it, and the rocks below that, and the water, and the air, and the wind remembers, and the trees remember, and the rock remembers. Some of the best psychometry, or and clear, like crystal clear
Blue Cross
stat
Road.
visions Good night, hunt. Good night, Blue. We love you. I've gotten is sitting on a rock by the edge of just a stream that was coming off of a little waterfall on Montesano Mountain in Alabama, and I could honestly see the male Native American that was watching his family down
those
the river
those
a little bit.
rivers talk.
It was amazing.
Those rivers talk. Glenn Dennison, Superstition Mountains is also on my list.
And if you do, you got to look up Dan Baldwin because he'll take you through those things. He's the one that looks for missing persons. And, you know, if you're going out that way, please don't go without letting me know, and I'll hook up Dan with you. Because he's got
great.
like 30 years out there looking for missing persons and solving some mysteries. And sometimes they're solved and not happy endings, but at least it's done. And that's what he's been out there doing. And he's all been up all in the... He started out looking for the Lost Dutchman mine. And he says, he's told me plain to my face, he goes, I think it's spent. I think it's spent, is what he said. But, and if he's saying that with that conviction, you know what I mean? And he's also extremely into, you know, what we do and communication with the dead. And also, he's been doing a lot of communication with the other side and finding out via spirit because he's worked through it and earned it, I believe. That's a good way to put it at this point. And he's getting a little bit of information. Of course, they won't tell him everything, but they're telling him little things about, like, you know, you're busy over there, and once you get past this and that, the other thing, you get to do things with what you learned here, and that's so cool. It's so neat to think that it just doesn't, you know, hit a brick wall and stop. You know, it continues on, and that's what this show's all about. You know, we continue on, so we're just trying to be, you know, I guess, make good choices and be, you know, light workers as much as you can, even if that's just opening a door for somebody at Wawa and smiling. You did something, a little bit of light. You know, it's even if it's just a little. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a lot of little things. It could be one little thing. It could be something you do good for you, or plant a tree.
Never know. Buy breakfast for that car behind you in the drive-thru.
Yep. You know, plant a tree, feed the birds. I was out there wrestling geese and trying to give this one little duck, you know, make sure he gets seed and trying to make sure the geese got seed. Because I explained, and I'm talking, there's a lot of ducks and stuff out there. And this one come up and hissed at me, and I hissed back. You should have seen the look on his face. He went, what? He backed up, too, I guarantee it. But... so everybody eats, but you also have to not be rude, and geese are rude, and ducks can be rude, but not up in here, you know. So we're just going to settle down.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
It's been a day. Nope, not up in here. We're done with that, you know. So so good. You know, as our conversation this morning, I love you, love you, love you. Hugs, hugs, hugs. Yay, 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 and fuck yeah. You know what I'm saying? You know I love you, baby. And I couldn't be happier. And I just, the thing is when one of us is getting good, you know, and all of us do, because we want to encourage you guys to do what makes you happy, you know?
Well, like over on Missing Persons and Mysteries the other day, we found a channel that only had 2 videos, but they were really good, really well put together. She had 6 subscribers. We shouted her out. This has just been like 2 days ago, I think.
Right.
And let me see what she's got now.
Oh, we're getting Lala Bright on too. She said that she might be good for next Monday. So
awesome. Yeah, I'd like to talk to her.
If I need any stuff for that, or I need to do, you know, videos or pictures or things
2
she wants
days,
to talk about.
2 days ago, we shouted this channel out. It's got 963 subscribers now.
And see,
and it had 6. You pass it on. You pay it forward, and you pay it back. You pay it both ways.
And you got to be good to you too. Eat the big cookie. Do something nice for yourself. You know, watch a good movie. Maybe watch one of these mummy movies. I'll tell you what. The 19. I highly recommend. Out of all those, I would say the very first one. If you've not seen Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff. It's a classic performance, even if you don't like The Mummy. I do like Boris Karloff. But I'm going to go read The Mummy by Anne Rice and see what she has to say.
Let me know how
I don't know how I missed that one. I loved Anne Rice. I loved the Mayfair Witches and the whole vampire yada, yada, yada. Right. But I just didn't get The Mummy. Never picked it up.
How about that? See, we all learning. We're all learning from each other, and I love you so much. So, again, say a special prayer. Anybody in here that needs healing, anybody that in here needs a little boost, you've got that energy coming here. Okay.
Raise
And
your
please
light,
send it
light
out
workers. Raise the signal. Put it out there.
Send that out to Aunt Edna. She's having a rough night tonight too. So I know she'll get through, but a little good energy never hurt anybody. I love you, Steve.
Love
I'd
you
say
too,
we get
Cisco.
on out of here.
Love the chat. Good night, everybody. We 2 hours and we started late, so right at 2 hours
Phew,
here.
my fault. My apologies, man. I have
but
no
it
clue.
all works out in the end. Everything happens for a reason. There's no
I got
such
no
thing
damn
as
idea what
coincidence.
happened. And look at me, I'm
No.
so fuzzy. I don't even know what. Boy, don't tell me there isn't no
It's
mummy
that Jack
curse.
Daniels.
I love you, baby. Good night, everybody.
Good night,
Keep
everybody.
your feet
See
under
you
the covers
soon.
and your closet door shut, because there are things that go bumping at night. And if you dig it up, put it back. Bye, everybody.
Bye.